Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the podcast where we discuss all things USMNT y la Seleccionmexicana. Once again, I'm Adrian and I am joined by my co-host and Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, dude? It's always nice to have you here with me. Happy holidays, by the way.
Yeah, likewise, man. I see a change in scenery here in beautiful Monterrey, right?
Yeah, I'm back home for the New Year's Eve. I spent Christmas with Barbara and her family in McAllen, Texas. But I'm back home, baby. Trying to enjoy some time over here and maybe catch even a Tigres game. We'll see.
Awesome, man. There you go. That sounds fun, man. Glad you had a good Christmas and so hope you have an equally good New Year out there, man. So during this episode, we will be discussing the winter transfer window and player stocks who went up and down during the World Cup. This is episode 5, and before we begin, I want to give a shout out to Chris Canales, the USL and NWSL pro referee who joined us last week. He was officially Puro Pinche Gol's first guest of the podcast. So, Chris, thanks again for joining us. And if you missed that episode, definitely give it a listen, because there was a lot of important topics that he clarified for us, and he went really in great detail on all those controversial plays that we kind of discussed with him. So, appreciate you, Chris, and hopefully we'll have you on sooner rather than later. And Adrian, before we start. Let's make sure we tell our viewers to go ahead and please subscribe, hit that button, subscribe on YouTube. We're available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and all podcast streaming services. So please give us a holler and give us a subscribe if you haven't done so already. Let's do a quick change of pace here. We normally always start off with the USMNT, but this time I'd kind of like to give our Eltri fans the early early listen here. Why don't we jump into la Seleccionmexicana, man, and kind of just get in from there. We've talked in great length before how Eltri kind of disappointed, but at the same time, it was kind of expected their performance at the World Cup. I don't think many players really stood out that, aside from a couple. Some definitely their market went up. Some maybe stayed the same. Some went down. Why don't you start us off with who you think went up, down, or who's the first guy on your list here?
Definitely. So I took a hard look on the 26 names list on that Tata Mezquino took with them to Qatar. And it was difficult to find, a selection of players that I think their stock went up. But the more I thought about it, the more I talked to you about it, I felt that, all right, I need to make a mix and make sure that we touch the names that are essentially going to play like a crucial role for the build-up on 2026, right? So I want to begin with the first name, which I think it's a clear one. It's Luis Chavez. So before even the World Cup started, Luis Chavez has been playing actually outstanding with Pachuca. He had a very nice year, building up to the championship of Liga MX before the World Cup. And according to transfer market, he is the only Mexican player whose actual value went up after the World Cup. It looks like pretty much everyone stayed the same, but he went up from 6.5 to 8 million euros according to transfer market. So, I mean, I think it's well deserved. If anything, he was like a last call from Tata Mezquino, along with a bunch of other players. Honestly, I mean, it was well deserved. We didn't have any other midfielder out there playing in Liga MX who had like the same consistent game time and who was showing like signs of being ready for the challenge. He scored a screamer against Saudi Arabia. Unfortunately, wasn't enough for Mexico to make it to the next stage. But I think it was pretty much enough for him to, raise some eyebrows out there in Europe. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think he had a good World Cup that was capped by the screamer that you mentioned. Seeing him in Liga MX for the past couple seasons, he has been one of the bright stars that has kind of come up and has been, before he even these transfer rumors to Europe have occurred, there was always, the last season or two of Liga MX that one of the bigger teams would pick him up. He's not young by any chance or by any
Yeah,
means. He's 26, but I think he's been playing at a decent level and a high enough level now that it does. He has earned that trip to Europe. That and 26 isn't the old farts that we think of. I mean, he still has a
definitely.
good
But
4 or 5 years.
he's old for trying to go to Europe though.
Oh,
Like
definitely. Yeah,
for the price tag that they're putting on him, which is 8 million euros, is definitely not the most expensive Mexican player I've ever to go to play to with a European team. Nonetheless, he's 26, as you mentioned. And for 8 million euros, you can definitely buy maybe like two or three Argentinians who are like maybe 19 or 18
yeah,
that maybe show the same promise, right? One of them will make it, the other two might not. But at the end of the day, I think teams in Europe rather gamble with those cards than getting an with all the respect he deserves, and nobody from Liga MX with that price tag. Um,
yeah. A player that, for all intents and purposes, at 26-year-old, is probably at his peak or close to it.
yeah,
And when, like you said, you could go to La Liga Argentina and get three, maybe gamble to maybe two of them will hit, and you'll make a profit there, and you'll make a good
definitely.
investment. You go to MLS and do the same thing. But yeah, I mean, definitely, I think 8 million is right. I mean, obviously, we're going to have a discussion later about the overinflated Mexican player, right? But this price tag, to me at least, doesn't seem as overinflated as others we've seen in the past.
I agree.
So it's good that he's going out there, and hopefully he does make his move to one of the clubs that we kind of mentioned, a middle of the table club, or one of
Yeah.
the other countries, Belgium or Holland, or one of those that he can really shine. What clubs are looking at him?
So I scoured the World Wide Web for information on him. Right. Of course, after the World Cup, everything was hot, and people were saying like he's going down, he's going down, he's getting
Right, right.
some interest from different teams and whatever. But the ones that I found that have shown or expressed the most interest are, as you mentioned, two teams from the Eredivisie, which are PSV and Ajax. And then the third one, which is one that actually tweeted directly to him, Bayer Leverkusen
By
from the
Leverkusen, yep.
Bundesliga. Nonetheless, though, those rumors have gone cold since the end of the World Cup, even before that. So I was going through some articles and whatnot, and I found some Mexican outlets out here saying that he might turn his decision and go for a Mexican team. It looks like America is pushing very hard for him. They might offer even more money than what his I guess release clause is for European teams. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to stay in Mexico and play for America, which that would be such a disgrace, man. I mean,
That'd be a shame. That'd be a shame,
yeah,
man.
that'd be a big shame though. But the thing is, like, if you're Pachuca and then America comes to you like, hey man, I'm gonna give you $15 million. Oops, $15 million um, for your player. It's kind of difficult to say no. And then if he's gonna
Yep.
get, I don't know, like a freaking salary of 2 million a year, yeah, I get them. But at the same time, it's like, look, if you want to get better, if you want to improve, these are the kind of sacrifices you gotta make, right? And
Yeah.
I understand that we say these things on the comfort of our houses, of our homes, right? We don't have to risk
Yeah.
anything, but I do want him to become better. I want him to go out there, and I think he's definitely gonna improve his game playing at a middle of the table team in Spain or Italy, or even in the maybe the best team in Belgium, whatever, than trying to be a champion with America at Liga MX. So
Right.
we'll see, man. I mean, he's definitely the Mexican player with the uh, most prospects right now in terms of the ones who went to the World Cup, and as far as going to a European team. But I mean, that's Luis Chavez for y'all.
Yeah, there's always one, right? 2018 was Chucky Lozano.
Yeah.
who kind of wowed and got his big transfer, and now it's Luis Chavez. And yeah, I hope for the sake of him, his development y la selección mexicana, he does end up going to Europe. But we'll see. Those big Mexican teams always seem to be just pull money out of a hat, man.
I don't know where, man. The next one that I
Yeah.
have on the list, man, is Cesar Montes. Now, here's my thing with Cesar Montes. Y'all know I'm a Tigres fan, so y'all gonna think that I'm gonna diss him, right? Most likely I would have, but in this specific situation, especially here in Monterrey, a lot of the pundits are saying like, "Well, he had an outstanding World Cup. He did awesome. He did great." Albeit, I agree, he was one of those players that did decent on the World Cup because to me, like pretty much every single player from the Mexican side did very shitty. But anyways, regardless, that's a beat horse. We don't want to beat that dead horse, anyways.
He's already long dead, man.
Exactly. We just gotta let it go, which I'm gonna do right now. So I mean, to me, he showed up. He did okay. He did what he had to do. Um, I don't think he did outstanding, but anyways, he was also one of those players who had European prospects even before the World Cup. I think his stock went up just based on his performance. If I'm not mistaken, he played what all the three games in with Mexico.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, right. He did. He
Hmm.
played all the three games. He had one assist, so that's cool. That's not bad. And so I think because of that, his stock went up. How much? I don't think it went that much up. But anyways, as I said, he had a he had an offer already lined up. So before the World Cup, CSK Moscow, uh, was showing interest on him, and I think there was talk about them offering 10 million euros for him. But with the whole Russia and Ukraine war, this didn't materialize. And before the World Cup, Espanyol de Barcelona showed interest on him. The thing is that they wanted him as a loan. So they were like, "Hey,
Right.
loan us a player. We'll get him some time, and if things pan out good, we either buy him or we sell him to to a bigger team, right? And we all make money out of it." But Monterrey was like, I'm not having anything of this. Actually, before that happened, Montes was about his contract was about to expire with Monterrey, and he was really pushing for that out with the Russian team. They sat down with him and they're like, "Look, we got some offers on the table that are in Russia. If you sign with us for a year extension, we're gonna make sure that you leave, but you also leave some money for the club, right?" Now, when Español de Barcelona came down with a loan offer, uh, Monterrey was like, "Look, we're not gonna let you go on a loan," and Cesar Monte was like, "Well, I'm not gonna play." So for the last season before the World Cup, I think he only played like maybe 8 games out of the entire season.
Jeez.
That
Right.
includes league. Uh, and this time around, after the World Cup, Espanyol came back and was like, "Look, we're gonna buy him, but we're gonna do it on installment payments." So I think they ended up doing, I think 8 million, something like that. But they pay up, I think, half of it up front, and then they have like a payment plan for the next 2 or 3 years or whatever. I think he's gonna sign a 5-year contract with Espanyol de Barcelona. So I mean, that's the kind of Espanyol de Barcelona is playing not to get relegated in Spain. But honestly, those are the kind of teams that you want to go as a Mexican player. I think Cesar Montes has been listening to PPG, and he made the right decision to go with Espanol.
Smart man. Smart man.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's gonna improve. He's gonna learn way more at Espanol, trying not to get relegated than getting a championship with maybe Monterrey, or even going to the finals of the uh, Concacaf Champions League or whatever it is. So I mean, that's Cesar Montes. His value didn't went up, but he's a new Mexican player in Europe. So I mean, yeah, stock went up, right?
Yeah, I mean it's always good when we send players out there. And just a note here: why are all these Barcelona teams always in debt or having to pay in payments, or why can't they just pay normally? I mean, it's always these teams.
I know, right? And I feel this is just pretty much every single team in La Liga. I think they're
Yeah.
all huge debt. But this
Mm,
that's nothing that has nothing to do with us. We don't have any
right.
quarrel in that topic, right?
No, but
Um,
it definitely. like you said, it's him going out there facing relegation. He'll be competing every week to try to stay up. That pressure, that it's only good for him, right? That'll just help him develop instead of playing in a league where unfortunately for the last couple of years it's gotten rid of promotion and relegation, and that pressure no longer exists. The pressure is there when you play for Monterrey or Tigres or America, one of the big teams. It's always going to be there to do well, but I mean, it's not like anywhere near Espanyol where if you don't perform a couple weeks, you
Your
drop
bench.
9, 12
Yeah.
points, you're going down. So
Mhm.
hopefully he makes an impact there and able to keep them up. And if he has a good performance these next 6 months and maybe the next year as well, man, we might be talking here in a year and a half saying he's going to a bigger club. So
Yeah, I mean,
hopefully he
honestly,
does well.
he should be shooting for like Sevilla, Atletico de Madrid, or hell, even like, I don't know, Borussia Dortmund, something like that. Like something just a slight better, right? He's not gonna make it to Barcelona. He's not gonna make it to Real Madrid or any of the big Premier League teams. But he can definitely go to the Valencia likes, the Sevilla likes.
Right. Yeah, those Europa League teams, the 6 and 7
Exactly.
on the table. Yeah.
hmm That'll be
No,
good for
definitely.
him.
I think
Next up in
the new guy with the biggest potential, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Next up in line, we have Alexis Vega, man. Now, you know how I feel about him, right? Before going to the World Cup. You know how I feel about him now after the World Cup. I'm still surprised. But unfortunately, I mean, nothing has happened with him. I think he stayed the same. I mean, before the World Cup, he had some like rumors of teams like Wolverhampton seeing if they want to buy him or whatever, but nothing really concrete. And you had Monterrey and Tigres pushing for him here on on Liga MX. He said he didn't want to hear to any other offers before the World Cup, so he wanted to wait until then. I think again he's one of the bunch of Mexican players that did okay. He
Right.
didn't. He wasn't. He didn't excel. Like his performance wasn't outstanding in any way or any
But his
form.
stock didn't go down though.
No, 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 no. It
If
didn't.
anything, it stayed the same, but it
Yeah,
definitely didn't go
or
down.
or slightly better for sure.
Or slightly better, yeah.
Yeah, like ever so slightly
Right.
better.
Yeah.
Just because again, he showed up to the World Cup and he was like, all right, this is my stage. This is what I gotta do, and he performed decent. That's it.
Right.
Um, Unfortunately, nothing has panned out. Again, as I said, a lot of the Mexican players had a lot of heat after the World Cup, and now it's just dwindling down. I don't know if it has to do with teams just realizing that what they saw in the World Cup, it isn't necessarily a reflection of their player performance. Because the thing with Alexis Vega, and this is one of the reasons why I really I didn't like him before the World Cup. It's because for the last Mexican Liga season, he had 17 games. He played 17 games. He only scored 3 times. He had 4 assists for a average goal per minute of 471 minutes for every single goal. So this is a player whose value is around 8 million, 10 million euros according to Transfer Market, and it's only giving you 3 goals and 4 assists per season here in Mexico, right? Um,
Right.
Most likely it's gonna be like, hopefully, if anything, like 8 goals and maybe like 10 assists per season. So it's a 25-year-old player, not very attractive to European teams again because of his price tag and the amount of value you're gonna get out of him. So unfortunately for him, things went, have gone cold. We had some, I guess, one of the biggest rumors that I found online was that Chelsea wanted him, but
Right.
dude,
That died down pretty quickly. I haven't seen
yeah,
anything
like
since.
he's not gonna go to Chelsea, dude. Come on, I
Right, right.
mean, get out of
Yeah.
here, man. He's not gonna go to Chelsea. Um, so it looks like he just decided to stay with Chivas right now and wait until the summer transfer window. See if he can get snatched by a smaller side in Europe.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's pretty much Alexis Vega, man. I mean,
Yeah,
cold as hell.
I think we've seen him enough in Liga MX to know what he gives. Like you said, I think you said for every 400 and what was it, 38 minutes he gives us something, a
Four
goal or
seventy one.
assist,
Yeah,
471. And at Chivas, he's kind of the big fish in
he's
the
a guy.
small medium sized pond, right?
Mhm.
But I mean, being a 25-year-old, which we've kind of how we talked about Luis Chavez, how he's getting to his peak. He's not a young guy anymore by any means. And this is a price tag where I think where Luis Chavez's price made a little more sense. I do think Alexis Vega is more so inflated, and just because I think he's from the team he's on, Chivas, and we haven't seen that. We see him. We can't say necessarily goals and assists are what you should base completely a player off of, right? He has good moments where he creates, and he maybe won't get an assist where he won't score, but to that won't necessarily transfer from Liga MX to La Liga or the Premier
Yeah,
League.
yeah.
It's a different beast, and
Hmm.
I can see why the European teams are kind of cooled on him, and I'm intrigued to see what he does this new Liga MX league or season, which starts on the 5th of January. By the way, we'll have an episode previewing that. But yeah, definitely. I mean, as his stock didn't go down, but it'll be interesting to see what he does this upcoming season for sure.
I mean, hopefully he does. He goes somewhere, dude. We got Chelsea, Wolves, and PSV lurking around, but
Hey, Wolves would be a good one. I
I
think he
think
could do
so
well
too.
at Wolves.
And Mexican players do okay at Eredivisie because we all know that Eredivisie is not a very tactical league to be in, and
Right,
Mexican players are not very tactical in any way.
right.
So that's why they fit in. But yeah, hopefully he doesn't he doesn't go to Tigres or Monterrey or America. I don't want to see him on a freaking Liga MX jersey, dude. I want to see him at least with like I don't know Levante or Mallorca, something like that, dude. Just take a chance. You know, you're gonna make bank regardless where you go. Your
I
life is
think
set.
the I think the motto of this episode is, man, take a chance, man. Come on, just go for it, please.
Definitely. Now, I'm gonna try to wrap up the next four guys that I have because we still have we're around the middle point on the podcast, and I want to make sure that we have time to cover USMNT. And this one, the next guys, again, I'm gonna be discussing guys whose stock maybe didn't go up nor went down. They pretty much remained the same, and I'm gonna talk about one guy whose stock went down. The next one in line is Kevin Alvarez. Again, this like Alexis Vega and Luis Chavez, he was a last minute call up from Tata Mezquino. Um, he had an amazing year building up to the World Cup. Actually, he was actually featured a lot on the best 11 for every single, not every single week of of Liga MX, right? But he was featured on best 11 or best team for the week quite a lot. He showed up to the World Cup. I think he did an okay performance on the first half against Argentina. Um, Again, I don't think his stock went up based on his performance for the national team. I think his stock has been going up because of his performance at Pachuca. This guy is only 23 years old. Again, not too young, but definitely not at the point where a 6 million, 8 million price tag will hinder him from going to a European team.
Right.
There's some talk around about PSV or Ajax looking at him. Um, if he gets a chance to make it happen, by all means, they should go ahead and do it. I also know that Tigres and Monterrey and America have also, pretty much put some money on the line saying like, hey, we want him. Fortunately, Tigres wasn't able to get him. As much as I want to see him with Tigres jersey. I think he's better off playing somewhere else. There's only one thing, Adrian, that I think hurt him a little bit in terms of like rumors and news and all that stuff. According to some Mexican commentators here, ESPN Deportes, they said that the guy got shy after the first half against Argentina. They went to the lockers and he told Tata Mezquino like, "Look, I just can't handle it. I gotta get subbed. Sub me out. I just can't do it anymore." I don't know if he couldn't handle the pressure. I don't know what happened, but dude pretty much said, "I'm done for today's game. Take me out."
Wow.
So I don't know if he foresaw the debacle and said, "I don't want to be
Yeah.
part of this," or he just on experience on a big stage got cold feet and said, "I'm out."
Wow.
So yeah, man. I mean, I don't know what to say.
That's something you don't want to hear, especially from a 23-year-old. You know, at that age, you're eager to get out there. You're playing against
Exactly.
Messi, playing against the best players in the world, and yeah, that's a red flag for sure.
Definitely, man. So that's why I don't think he's. I mean, his stock would have gone up. I think he would if it would have been featured for every single game.
Right?
But this specific thing might hinder him from making a big move to Europe. We'll see. Time will tell. Next up in line is Johan Vasquez. This guy, we saw Johan Vasquez go up all the way to Genoa, and
Right.
then kind of sort of fall down gradually to sit down at Cremonese. And he fell off from Tata Mezquino's grace. Big time, dude. He was supposed to be the pair of center backs with Cesar Montes. I don't know what happened with him. I think it was his lack of game time at Cremonese that Tata just said, screw him. I'm going to put Hector Moreno, freaking old guy with a freaking baton, with a baston, walking around doing his thing,
Kane.
whatever. Kane, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I think this is one of the guys who stuck. If he didn't go up, it went slightly down, just because he didn't have any World Cup time. Right? He didn't play any minute at the World Cup. He is 24 years old. He's already in Europe, so he's at a good age of making a better break. His value actually went down from 6 million to currently right now 3.6 million euros. So he's still on that within range of being not that expensive that he can make a move to a different team if he gets loaned out. But I know he's going back to Cremonese for the rest of the season. Hopefully he gets more play time, and hopefully either he goes back to Genoa, which I think is a good club for him, or he finds somewhere a better suit for him. Uh,
Well, I mean, if anything, that helps that his price went down. 3.6 seems to be a more accurate number than what you
I
said,
agree.
6 million.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, hopefully he's able to move back to Genoa, but we'll see what
According
futures.
to Transfer Market, the 6 million happened in 2021. That's when he was actually at his peak of the game. He was performing pretty well at Pumas, and I think that came after the Gold Cup, if I'm not mistaken, his transfer. Anyways, I agree with you. His price tag is right in. I don't think it's bad. You know who's competing? Who he is competing against for a spot in Cremonese?
Who?
Remember Vlad Chiriches?
He's there?
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
And he's starting. He's playing
Yeah.
instead of freaking Johan Vasquez. You gotta be kidding me. Vlad Chiriches is old as hell, man. Get out of
Jeez.
here. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Well, I mean, from PPG to Johan Vasquez, man, we hope that you do better, that you get some play time, go out there, show the world, do better. Next one is Edson
Sir.
Alvarez. Now, Edson Alvarez, he is the player for 2026. I don't know what went through Tata Mezquino's head. I don't know why he decided not to play him, right, on every single game. I don't know why he didn't start against Argentina.
Hey man, he had Guardado and Achache.
Dude, get out of here. Guardado only played like what, 30 minutes? I don't know how long he played, dude. Freaking old guy out here, 38, playing his freaking fifth World Cup. Anyways, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. But I think this is one of the guys whose stock actually went up. Again, not because of his performance at the World Cup, but because of what he's been doing at Ajax. Right?
Right.
He's been playing outstandingly well in Eredivisie. Before the World Cup, he had a rumor of Chelsea wanting him, and I don't know. I don't really know what happened. I think Ajax said you're not going out there. You're not going out anytime soon.
Yeah, they
We're gonna.
stopped his transfer, and he was
That's
pretty
correct.
upset about that. And he's
Mhm.
a player that I think. Sorry, I interrupted you. He's a player that I definitely think would do well at Chelsea. He's got the
Yeah, man,
physique for
for
the
sure.
Premier League, and man, how he holds the ball there at the center of the midfield, man, he'd control that crazily.
He's
And
30, man.
yeah, Jorginho is like leaving Chelsea at the end of the season, I
Mhm.
believe. He'd fit right in. Where Kante is leaving, man, Edson Alvarez could slide right in there for sure.
Yeah, he has that box to box kind of midfield
Right,
body. I know he looks scrawny, but he's tough. He's sturdy. He will take it. I think he will be a good challenge for him, and he will be the flagship player for Mexico. Hopefully, this thing materializes at summer transfer window. I don't think it's going to happen in this winter transfer window.
right.
Um, but whoever is the next Eltri's coach, right? They need to build the foundation based on Edson Alvarez. So
around him.
hopefully,
How
yeah.
how old is Alvarez now?
Alvarez is, if I'm not mistaken, 26, 25.
26, 25. Okay.
25. All right.
Okay.
And
So he's still
actually,
at
I
a good
mean,
age.
yeah, definitely. And he's a constant feature with Ajax. Right now, he has played 12 games, 2 assists, 6 Champions League games, 1 goal at Champions League, and 1 game at the Netherlands Cup, which is called Johan Cruyff. Cool.
Okay.
Good
Cool.
to
Yeah.
know. Uh-huh. So yeah, he's a good player. He's the highest. Well, I guess not the highest, but the highest value, the most expensive player in the Mexican team, with a price tag of 35,000. Sorry, not 35,000 million. 35 million euros. That would be crazy. That's freaking, not even Messi has that price tag. But yeah, that's Edson Alvarez. I mean,
Somebody that we all know well, and I think we all know well because he's deserved that and he's earned it. He's definitely the Mexican player with the highest ceiling. I think still only
mhm,
25 years old, been playing
mhm.
at Ajax for a while now, and that's again the type of club we like to see them start out with, and hopefully he gets his big move here in the summer.
El Machín, bro.
El Machin.
Yeah. And the last one is it's a player who I'm disappointed, to be honest with you. His performance at the World Cup was, if anything, subpar. I think this is a player who has been feeding off a good game he had 4 years ago with El Tri, and after that, it's been a kind of sort of roller coaster ride with him. And I'm talking about Chucky Lozano. He went from being the most valuable Mexican player out there to being the second most valuable Mexican player out there. He is not young by any means. He's 27 years old, so he's supposed to be reaching his peak by now. Uh,
Yep.
he hasn't been featured constantly at Napoli. He has only played 14 games this season, 3 goals, 3 assists. So I guess not too shabby for those numbers. 5 Champions League games, 1 goal. But man, being a Napoli player and not being featured every single week tells you something, right? His price tag right now is 28 million euros. His performance with Mexico at the World Cup was, again, as I said, subpar. It wasn't even that good. He didn't play well. I don't know, man. I don't know if Tata Mezquino's style didn't actually help him to showcase his abilities, or if it's just a situation of him not, reaching his peak, and that's pretty much it. This is how much we're gonna get out of him, right? And
Right.
I'm afraid that his name might be getting devalued out there in Europe, and he might not have a chance to go to a different team and continue playing in Europe. I'm afraid he's gonna fall for a MLS offer or a Liga MX comeback, and we don't really need that. He
A
can
Giovanni
still
Dos Santos type situation.
exactly. He can still make it, to 2026, playing at some European team. Um, he still has some legs in him, but I don't know what's going on with him, man. Se la ha pasado comiendo desde el gol ese contra Alemania y no ha mostrado nada más. I mean, by this point, he should have been, the flagship for the Mexican team. He should be the next leader. He should be the next in line to take the role. And I don't think he is. I think Edson Alvarez is stepping up,
Yep.
and Chucky Lozano is just sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, he probably peaked, and we expect much from him. And Napoli is by no means one of the. I think when you consider European powerhouses, you think of Real Madrid, Barcelona, all those. Bayern Munich. They're not at that level. They're probably a level below with
Yeah,
Borussia Dortmund, Napoli, those types of clubs. Atletico Madrid. It's not by any means an easy club to play at. Those numbers you gave: three
exactly.
goals, 3 assists, and 14 periods. That's pretty good.
Hmm.
I'm surprised by those numbers. I've kind of been following him this season, but I don't really follow the Serie A much. I knew he wasn't playing as much, but yeah, those are pretty decent numbers. But from what I've heard, he's definitely fallen out of favor with the Napoli coach, and maybe
Yeah,
it was
he is.
Tata Martino that his style just completely neutralized his effectiveness.
There's some rumor going around saying that Borussia Dortmund wants him. Some EPL clubs want him as well. Liverpool and Manchester United. But I think if he goes to Liverpool and Manchester United, he's not going to be playing in and out. He's going to be benched. He's going to be,
Yeah,
a sub player, right? If he goes to Borussia, he might have a chance to have some constant game time. But I don't know, man. I mean, his contract ends on 2024, January 2024 with Napoli. I think Napoli actually wants to part ways with him and make some cash out of it. So we might see a summer transfer for Chucky Lozano. I don't think he's going anywhere this winter's window.
Yeah, but he'll probably definitely be leaving in the summer. They won't want to get rid of him for free, and they're not going to offer him a extension. I don't think so.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where he lands.
Yeah, and just bonus points. Guillermo Ochoa went to US or USS Salernitana 1990. I really hope he doesn't make it to 2026.
Hey, what's his name? El Conejo Perez was in 2010, man. At
I
41
know,
years
dude.
old. I mean, Guillermo Ochoa at 40 years old, 2026.
It's time, dude. It's time for him to move on.
Goldie's last.
I know. It's just that doesn't mean that it's a good thing for El Tri.
So is it time to retire our Guillermo Ochoa candles?
At least for El Tri. I mean, he can still play at Italy, whatever he wants to do, right? Just
Yeah.
don't be the
Just don't
starter.
come back.
I'm
Yeah,
okay if he takes like a backup keeper or like a third string keeper kind of role and just be there for I guess team build up or whatever. But I don't think he should be starting anymore.
yeah.
Anyways, that's my opinion.
There you go.
And
Awesome,
that's
man.
pretty much it, man. I don't think there's any other Mexican player that I want to touch base on. I think the rest of the, I don't know, 2019 something players that I didn't talk about, it's pretty much clear that I don't think their stock went up. It actually went down.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any, I don't think we're going to have any valuable conversation out of them. So uh, I'm okay with just move
Okay.
on.
All right, man. Appreciate you filling us in that, and hopefully we're able to see some more moves like Cesar Montes and follow through
Yeah.
here in the next couple months. I guess moving on to the USMNT, I
Let's do
think
it.
there was a little bit more of positivity on that end. Um, this team is what I believe the Mexican team should have been at 2018. A
Damn.
team full of young 20, 22, 23, 24-year-old players that could have been at their prime at this World Cup. I want to start with talking about Yunus Musa, the English-born American player now. Before the World Cup, he was rated around 20 million euros. As of a December 23rd update on Transfer Market, he's rated at 25 million euros.
Damn.
All these players that I'm going to talk about, I think only Yunus Musa's Transfer Market has been updated. So all the prices I'll be giving out here are kind of just before the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's been a lot of rumors about this guy. As we know, he kind of came up through the Arsenal academy, and
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal's interested in bringing him back. There's a lot of talk from Inter Milan in Italy. There's even talk of Chelsea bringing him in, and
Heard
Liverpool
that.
bringing
Yeah.
him in. Yeah. So I know Valencia is not letting him go. They're trying to keep him at least until the summer. They don't want to lose him here in January in the middle of a campaign. So they're trying to keep him at least to the summer. He's 20 years old, still very young. The sky's the limit with this guy. He gets plenty of game time with Valencia. He's a starter. He's in a competitive league. Personally, I think he shouldn't rush a move out
Yeah.
of Valencia. Valencia is the perfect example of what PPG has been saying that players
Oh
should go
yeah.
to.
Mm-hmm.
Get playing time in a competitive league, competitive players, and do well there. What do you think about that?
Look, I totally agree with you, man. This is a player who has a huge ceiling. He's definitely not even on the middle of that ceiling yet. He had an outstanding performance at the World Cup. He should stay at Valencia at least until the summer, and he needs to think through his next move. Because I'm just afraid that if he goes to like a top five EPL team,
Yeah,
he's not gonna have that constant play time. It's gonna be difficult for him to be a regular starting 11. It doesn't mean that he's not going to make it. All I'm saying is he should definitely go into the next building block of his career, the likes of Inter de Milan, the likes of Borussia Dortmund, Bayer Leverkusen, even RB Leipzig would be a good move for him.
yeah.
Hell, even Atletico de Madrid, something like that. Sevilla, just a tight slight better than what he's
Probably
doing.
second tier, right? Because I would consider Valencia probably a third, 2.5, third tier, and then those
Yeah,
teams you mentioned second tier, and then Real Madrid,
I
first
agree.
tier, whatever.
So I
But
don't think he's
definitely,
he's ready. I don't think he's ready for that move yet. And
right?
I think his release clause, which you said is $105 million release clause, will keep him in Valencia for at least for the summer.
At least for the summer. Yeah, at least definitely for the winter. His current deal with Valencia runs until 2026. So if nothing pans out, he'll be at least there at a competitive team for that long. I do definitely think he has the highest ceiling in terms of a box to box midfield for the U.S. in those those elite teams. I
Hmm.
could see him fitting in like at a Chelsea where Kante was.
Yeah.
Perfect example. He's that kind of player.
Hmm.
So I think he'll do well to find a team like that. But again, like you said perfectly, maybe go to Borussia Dortmund first, Leipzig, one more step up before hitting that elite team. But I definitely think he has the potential to get to that elite level.
He's in the right spot, man. He's in the right spot. Like he shouldn't be complaining about anything. He's getting plenty of time at a competitive league.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, things are panning out for him pretty well.
Yep. Sorry, it'll be interesting to see how that develops, and we'll keep an eye on him definitely here in the next couple of months. The next guy I kind of want to mention is USA Captain America Tyler Adams.
Oh,
Before the
whoa,
World
whoa, whoa,
Cup,
whoa, whoa. Backtrack. You're saying that he's Captain America instead of Kirsten Pulisic? Is that what you're saying?
that's what I'm saying, man. You want to fight about that
All
or
right,
what?
all right, all right. I'll buy it. I'll buy it.
So before the World Cup, he was rated around 17 million euros on transfer market. There hasn't been an update since, but I'm thinking stock went up. Him and Musa for me were probably the best players on the U.S. team,
Yeah.
and that says a lot because a lot of those U.S. players played their asses off and played amazing. Um, so he just moved in the summer from where was he at? He was in Leipzig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in Leipzig in the Bundesliga to Leeds. He's now playing with fellow American Aronson there under an American Jesse Marsh.
Coach. Yeah.
Yeah, they actually play tomorrow, the 28th, Wednesday, 28th here in the Premier League, the first game back from the World Cup.
Nice.
Um, I don't think he needs to leave yet. There's the biggest rumor is coming from the Manchester United camp, which I think he's ready, honestly, for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could start. If you had asked me 10 years ago, do I think he'll start at Manchester United? No, Manchester United was an elite team back then. I don't think they're at that level anymore. I think he could play. Yeah, quote me on that, man. Tweet that out. I think he could definitely play 60-70% of Manchester United's games.
Yeah.
Um, but if he keeps up the World Cup level that he showed at the tournament, I think Champions League teams in the summer will definitely be looking for him. He's still young, 23 years old. He signed a 5-year deal with Leeds this past summer, so that it's only been a couple months at Leeds, so he's still there for a while at least if he doesn't get any offers. But yeah, personally, I think he'd stay there maybe another season. He's loved by the fans, or getting to that point. I know he's liked by the fans, maybe not loved yet, but getting to that point. And definitely stay there maybe one more year, maybe get the captaincy there, and maybe see your stock continue to rise. What do you think?
Look, I think for all the USMNT players that we're going to discuss today, it's going to be pretty much the same situation where they are on an ideal position right now. Um, I agree with you. Leeds is a great team for him to keep on building up. Um, the fact that he has an American coach with him it only means that he's gonna be liked by him and perhaps have biased on he's gonna start because he's an American player. Uh, and yeah, I mean I'm not too sure if it's ready yet to be a starting player for a I guess top five English Premier League team, but I
Okay.
can see him becoming that maybe in the next 2 years for sure. Again, I agree with you. If he continues to have that level of game and performance at Leeds, he's definitely going to turn around the likes of Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, maybe even Tottenham. Which I wouldn't want him to go to Tottenham,
Yeah.
dude. I
Neither
wouldn't.
would
I
I.
wouldn't wish that to even my worst
That's a
enemy.
that's a downgrade, man.
For sure. But no, I think he's in a perfect spot, man. The move from Leipzig to Leeds was the best move to make because he's going from a competitive league to an even more competitive one at a team who's going to guarantee him constant play time and I think Leeds, what? It's always competing for maybe, the UEFA Europa League positions, right? Or even
Well,
Conference League position.
last year they were trying to stay in. They were fighting
Oh,
relegation. This year they started hot. They've kind of gone down. I think they're like 15th or 16th right now. But I think that they lost a couple of good players like Calvin Phillips, and
yeah.
so they're not at that Europa level yet. But I think they can be in a couple, maybe next season, make a couple transfers. But it's definitely a club that has potential, and with him at the helm there, I think that he could kind of guide it the right way.
Dude, he's in a position where he can reap a lot of benefits
Yeah.
by just
hmm
by just being the start of the team, right?
hmm We saw that at the World Cup. If you compare him to Weston McKennie, who's struggling for game time at Juventus and injuries,
Mhm.
versus Tyler Adams, who's played every minute for Leeds practically. Not saying McKennie had a bad tournament because he didn't, but Tyler Adams just had a superb tournament. Um,
Definitely.
but moving on to Weston McKennie,
There
before
we
the
go.
World Cup, his value was at 21 million euros. There's not really a update as of now, but there is talks that Tottenham want him, and there's a lot of talks that Juventus are going to actually let him go because, man, Juventus always has financial problems. Earlier this month, all their board members resigned out of nowhere. There's been fraudulent accounting, alleged hidden payments that haven't been made, and they're overvaluing their players in the transfer market. All that have been caught them, and they all resigned. So they're looking to sell off players, excess players, and he seems to be one that he gets game time, but he doesn't get the game time he used to have at Schalke. He currently
Yeah.
this season has 16 appearances across all competitions: Champions League, Serie A, and the Cup. He has 3 goals, 1 assist, and he's seen a lot of injuries, so those numbers are kind of skewed. But at Juventus, you're always going to face stiff competition. He faces competition from Pogba, Rabiot,
Yeah.
Paredes, Nicolo Fagioli.
Is
So
he like a injury prone player?
I don't think he is as much as Pulisic, but he's just been unlucky here this last season. It wasn't a major injury. He got back in time to the World Cup.
Mhm. I remember that.
He's a tough player. I don't think injuries will bother him much. Knock on wood. But once he gets back fit, I think he's one of the US's best players, and hopefully he does end up moving. As much as we shit on Tottenham, I think he'd do well there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
he's that type of player, and that's a type of club that we kind of want to see them at. Honestly,
Mhm.
that's a high level club, top six. So yeah, that's kind of Weston McKennie's report. Any thoughts on him?
I mean, no, I mean, you pretty much summarized everything pretty well, man. I really hope that he doesn't become like an injury prone player. Uh, if anything, making a move out of Juventus is going to help him out. Uh, yeah, I agree. Tottenham will be a good spot for him. I just feel that EPL suits very well with American players, not
Yeah,
only because the EPL is trying to capture some of the American market, but I don't know, for some reason they tend to flock to the
yeah,
EPL sooner rather than later. So yeah, he's gonna have a tough competition with Pogba coming back, Adrian Rabiot having an astounding World Cup as well.
right.
I don't think he's not even like the first in line for subbing, right? Like he's maybe like third string midfielder out there.
Yeah, I think he starts the Copa games and a couple Serie A games every now and then. But yeah, he isn't starting for sure. So hopefully we see him move.
He had to go.
You know, transferring to staying in the Serie A. Real quick, I kind of want to quickly mention Sergio
Mhm.
Dest. He's a player who was playing pretty good at the World Cup.
That's
He
true.
there were some moments where he kind of did more in attacking than defense. He's a defender, and he seems to like going up forward. So there were some times when he left some huecos, some space back there, and was able to track back. But I'd say overall he had a really good World Cup, and it showed. Milan has expressed their interest in signing him on a permanent deal. Before that, he was like in Weston McKennie's situation. They didn't know
Hmm.
what they had with him. They weren't convinced by him. Barcelona, we already know, isn't convinced by him. and Milan was kind of in the same boat. I don't know if he's slacker in training or what, but they didn't seem too convinced by him. And they were really impressed with him at the World Cup, and have said that they want to sign him on a permanent deal.
Yeah, actually, I was very surprised that he moved to Barcelona, and
Yeah,
I was like, all right, good for him, good for the USMT having a player at a top team, but definitely, I mean, I haven't followed him very closely, but I know that he's been doing okay at Milan. He should definitely push for a stay there. He's gonna get way more time playing at Milan. Milan is not the Milan that we used to see back in the 2000s, right? In the early
right.
2000s. This is a team that is still trying to build up after 15 years.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but
they
yeah,
they won Serie A like 2 years ago. Remember
that
that?
is true. That is true. That
Yeah.
is true. But I think that, for a young player like him being at Milan, it's great. If anything, he still has a lot of room to grow. And I want to piggyback on your comment saying that during the World Cup he showed more attacking uh, traits rather than defending. And I think by him staying at Serie A, he's going to learn how to defend better. So if anything, it's going to make him a more complete. Is he a right back or a left back?
He is a right back.
Yeah.
Anthony
So
Robinson is the left back.
if anything, he's going to be improving his defensive skills and become an even more all around an even
Yeah,
more all around defender. Sorry.
yeah, and that will only serve the USMNT. Um, Now I want to talk about the most important player of the USMNT, our Lord, our Savior, Haji Wright. Haji Wright. Um, Before the World Cup, he was valued around 3.4 million euros. Maybe this is going to go up. I don't think it'll go down, but he played in all 4 games. He only started one. He scored one amazing, beautiful wonder goal, the goal of the tournament against the
Yeah.
Netherlands. Um, and he's currently playing in Turkey. And one of the reasons he went to the World Cup was because he was hot right before the World Cup. He had
Hmm.
9 goals in 13 games. So 24 years old. He's a forward, big, strong guy. I'm not entirely convinced on his finishing yet, but Crystal Palace is interested in him,
Oh,
and
good team.
yeah, perfect team for him, I think, where
Yeah.
he could thrive to score goals. And again, like you said, Premier League has an attraction with
I
Americans,
don't know
so
why, man.
I
I don't know why.
mean, culture maybe, who knows, but they that'd be a good move for him. So hopefully we see that come to fruition there.
Yeah, I was really surprised with him, and you know what? I would just want to mention that he gives me big Dembaba
Yeah,
vibes. I don't know.
yeah, those type of goals.
Exactly. I don't know why, but he gives me like he'll come in clutch unexpectedly. I don't know where, and he'll win the game for you. So yeah. Again, look, if he doesn't make it out of the Antanja sport, and he stays there for maybe the next year and a half, I think it'll still be a good team for him. Turkey League, it's not the best one, but it's definitely competitive. It's better than MLS for sure, um,
Yep.
and maybe a slightly better than the Eredivisie, or better than
Yeah.
the Swiss league as well. Um, so yeah, 9 goals in 13 games before the World Cup. That's actually very very
Pretty
decent
good.
numbers,
Yeah.
and that's the reason why Berhalter chose him over Ricardo Pepi. No doubts about it. If he goes to Crystal Palace, even if it's a sub, he's not starting. It's also a good move. I think he has the physicality, the athleticism, and the vibes, the Mbaba vibes to be to be, I guess, the next Wilfred Saha of
Yeah.
Crystal Palace. I like to see that.
I'm gonna send a direct message to Haji right here. Haji, dare to Demba.
Ah, hell yeah, hell yeah.
There
We
you
should we
go.
should make a meme. Dare to Haji.
Dare to Haji, yeah, and
Dare to Haji.
put that silhouette of his goal.
Hashtag Dare to Haji.
Yeah, you remember that Demba Ba goal?
Hell yeah, we should make the same thing, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, silhouette. Oh my God, dare to Demba. I love that guy. And real quick, I got 2 more guys here that I want to cover before
Let's
we
go.
wrap it up. Anthony Robinson, before the World Cup, he was around 10 million euros. I know for sure that that's gone up just because of the transfer rumors that I've heard. The
Hmm.
transfer market website has not actualized or refreshed yet, but I'm sure he'll probably be on the move soon. He's 25 years old. starting left back for Fulham. He's played in his career for Fulham 84 matches, scored
Wow.
5 goals. Obviously not a goal scorer by any means. He's a left back, but he played all World Cup games, and he was critical to the U.S.'s attack going forward, man. And some big teams have been looking for him. Newcastle under the new ownership, they're ready to spend big monies. Inter Milan, Inter has like 20 million euros that they're kind of considering. Newcastle's kind of considering in the 16 million price range. So from 10 million to 16/20, definitely kind of doubled his price there, and definitely going to be cool to see where he goes to play his football next.
Hey, is Fulham playing right now at the EPL or Championship?
They're in the EPL. Team Ream scored yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, they're
Another
doing pretty
prospect.
good. Yeah, another. Yeah, our future 2026 center back right there, man.
I do have to say that Anthony Robinson surprised me. It was a nice surprise. I wasn't following him. I was not following him that much. But after the World Cup, I became a huge fan of him. Uh, Even if he stays at Fulham, again, just like the other
Fulham's a
players,
good team. Yeah,
yeah, it's a good team. He's gonna get consistent game time. He's gonna still have that competitive edge. Unfortunately, Fulham is one of those teams that are playing for not getting relegated most of the
yeah,
time, at least on the recent history. But hell, man, I mean, you'd rather be playing at a prone to relegation team at EPL than MLS for sure. So props to him, and I really hope that we see him on Newcastle. I don't want him to go to the Serie A,
yeah.
even
I think
though
that's. Go. Sorry. Go ahead.
Serie A might make him a better defender. But I don't think he needs to improve on his defensive game.
Yeah, his defensive game is pretty solid. He kind of had a couple of mistakes against the Netherlands, but I mean, it was the Netherlands. Going to Newcastle would probably help him develop further and further develop his attacking game as well. So yeah, that's kind of my favorite move as well. I think the Serie A will kind of slow his progression down a little bit. Not as many. It's a very defensive minded league, so
Yeah.
he'll be asked to just stay back, and it'll probably postpone his development.
He by now he should be already accustomed or acclimated, I guess, to
Assimilated.
assimilated to the EPL.
Yeah.
So him moving to a different EPL team, maybe a bigger one with more money or one with higher expectations, would also help him to not have that transition period, right? So
Right.
he's not gonna have to spend time trying to get used to or adapted to the team mentality or even the culture around him.
Yeah. Awesome. The last guy I kind of have here on my list, the old Captain America, Christian Pulisic. Before the World Cup, he was kind of valued 38 million euros, price that went down from ever since he left Borussia Dortmund to Chelsea. He impressed a lot at the World Cup, man. He started, played every game, and he assisted. He was involved in all 3 goals, assisted 2, scored
Yeah.
1. Um, Today, December 27th, he played for Chelsea. He started, played 82 minutes against Bournemouth, and he had a good game. He had a goal taken away because Havertz fouled another player in the box, and he had what should have been a penalty. I think he was tugged and brought down inside the area. Wasn't called a penalty, but other than that, man, I saw him doing the sprints that he was doing before he got his hamstring injury. He was running down the flank fast today, like he was trying to prove something. So I think he had an interview before the World Cup saying or when he got back to Chelsea from the World Cup saying he's focused at Chelsea, but he didn't rule out a move. Yeah, right now he's still at Chelsea. Hopefully, I'd like to see him get more game time. I think he will. He showed a good World Cup.
Yeah, he better
Um,
get more game time for now.
yeah, but Newcastle's kind of the biggest ones that are kind of looking to make a statement signing, and they think Pulisic can be their guy.
Well, I mean, you know that now the new ownership at Chelsea is an American guy, right? It's the Dodgers
Right.
guy. So,
hmm
I'll be surprised if he let go an American talent to begin with.
I think he'll let he doesn't care. I think he could let him go, but he'll bring in Musa or another American guy. I
Yeah.
think he'll always want an American guy there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean they do have that Chicago Fire keeper, that
Uh,
Slavina or whatever they just
yeah.
recently purchased. But
Right.
I mean, if he stays at Chelsea, he needs to fight for that starting 11 position. The thing is with him, man, I don't know, but I don't know how you feel, but I just feel that he's made out of crystal. You know, he
Yeah.
he gets injured every single season, and he's out for like maybe 5 games in a row. Maybe that's the reason why he wasn't necessarily featured more regularly by Thomas Tuchel. With Graham Potter, he seems to be, I think Graham Potter takes him more in consideration, maybe because it adapts to his style of play.
Yep.
Uh, but again, I mean, I don't know if when he got purchased by Chelsea. I wasn't sure it was the right decision. I think could have stayed at Borussia Dortmund for a couple more years and
Yep.
maybe
I
prep
agree.
for the big move.
Right.
That didn't happen. He's at Chelsea right now. If he stays at Chelsea, then he needs to find a way to be less injury prone. But if he goes to Newcastle, um, again, I'm right there with you. I don't think it's a bad move just because he's gonna get more playtime.
Yep. Mhm.
Um, yeah, he's gonna be like a star on that team. That's the
And
thing with.
Newcastle is probably going to be the next big team in the Big Seven, right? They got billionaire owners, the richest owners in the world, so they'll be probably up there soon in a season or two, up there fighting with Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool.
Santi Muñez, though.
Something. There you go. Um, well, Adrian, I think we had a good talk here, discussing plenty of prospects and plenty of transfer rumors. Hopefully, we'll see some happen here in January, and if not, maybe definitely see some movement in the summer, man. Thanks again for joining me as my co-host, brother.
Anytime, dude.
Next episode we're gonna be previewing the Liga MX, which starts on January 5th. We're also
Mhm.
going to be previewing the second half of the Euro season for all of our Mexican contingent and our U.S. contingent out there in Europe.
Mhm.
We know that the season started, but still early in the second half, so we'll be kind of doing an in-depth of our expectations and our wishes for our players out there. Adrian, what do you want to tell our fans? Where can they find us?
You know, y'all better follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, even TikTok. We're about to release some clips of our pods out there. We're gonna be doing some shorts on YouTube as well. So just follow us. Follow us on all the social media. You can find us out there at Puro Pinche Gol. And just don't hesitate to give us a shout out. Uh, you know, uh, Pretty much just engage with us. It wouldn't hurt. We're
Yeah.
trying to make something fun out of it. So we would appreciate your comments in any way possible. Yeah.
Yeah, hashtag dare to Haji, and
Mhm.
appreciate it, Adrian. And we'll see you next episode, man.
I'll see you next week, my friend. Take it easy.
See you, brother.